So new fallout from Vice President Harris's first big sit-down. The Guardian saying the much-hyped interview was, quote, radically normal. And the Wall Street Journal's editorial board called her running mate, Governor Tim Walz, quote, an interview crutch, saying it's a deliberate attempt to limit the potential exposure risks for the vice president. In an opinion piece from the Journal, one author calling the Harris campaign a campaign of joy with a, quote, don't worry, be happy policy vision. The author of that op-ed, Julian Epstein, joins me now. Julian, good to see you. I think we got you now. He is a former chief counsel to the House Judiciary Democrats and staff director of the House Oversight Committee. Julian, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Kelly.
So I want to ask you about your article for the Wall Street Journal. You were critical of Harris not doing television interviews. So what did you make of her CNN interview on Thursday?
Well, I think she did fine. I don't think it was a very challenging interview. The problem that I, as a Democrat, worry about is that she's probably running behind right now. In order to win the Electoral College, Democrats have to be running about 4 points ahead, which she's not. And if you look in battleground states right now, she is underperforming the Clinton and the Biden benchmarks by a factor of 2 or 3-fold. Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania in particular, Clinton and Biden were running as much as 7 to 9 points ahead. She's barely ahead in 2, and she's behind in Pennsylvania. So first of all, I worry that she's running behind. Second, 1/3 of the American public, according to the ABC or CBS poll, rather, believes that they don't really know very much about her. So she's a mystery to a lot of people. And what the campaign has been trying to do is to fill in the blank spots with some economic proposals that I think are very, very far left, the progressive left, things like housing entitlements and price controls. The public has had 4 years of progressive left economic policies, and with due respect to your guest earlier from the White House, by a margin of at least 2 to 1, the public doesn't like the results of the Biden-Harris record. So I think doubling down on progressive left economic policies is not really the best way to introduce herself to the public. The third problem, and that I mentioned in the news article, is that I think the campaign has been trying to hide her from the news media, largely because when she was vice president, she had a lot of bad experiences in unscripted environments. But I think this is a mistake because the Republicans are going to come out very strong in the fall, and they are going to allege that she is an empty suit, that she doesn't really understand policy, she doesn't have principles, she flip-flops with no real explanation other than my values haven't changed, which isn't much of an explanation. The more she hides from the news media, the more she gives credibility to the charges that she's not prepared. So I think it's a big, big mistake. If you look at what Bill Clinton and Barack Obama did, they used every opportunity they could find to showcase their mastery of policy, to showcase their mastery of what was going on in American culture. And unless she does that, I think I worry that this is not going to have a happy ending.
So your advice to her is to do more interviews, like even leading up to the September 10th debate, do more interviews leading up to that and then after.
Look, the news media is democracy's fourth column. It is very anti-democratic, I think, as an ethical matter to suggest that the candidate doesn't need to go in front of the news media. I think it's also very, very counterproductive because it tells voters that the campaign, it's an admission by the campaign to voters that they don't believe the candidate can handle a tough cross-examination. And if the candidate can't handle a tough cross-examination, then how are they going to be able to handle Vladimir Putin, what's going on in the Middle East, and all the other complicated issues we have? So I think that it is a tactical mistake of the campaign to hide her from the press. I think she has to get out there and sort of take tough interviews, go into unscripted environments, and show her wares, show what her capacities are. Voters are going to demand that kind of thing.
Well, she is more than welcome anytime here on NewsNation. We hope to get our chance to interview her very soon. But former chief counsel to the House Judiciary Democrats, Julian Epstein, thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.